ma'am, you're good to go. So any apologies for our meeting?
Yes, I've got an apology. I've got to leave at 10:40 today.
Well,
I've got another meeting.
we won't be going. I'm hoping we'll be done in about
Sorry, 9:40. 9:40. Sorry,
Right,
9:40.
okay. Well, let's get going. Any conflict?
Councillor Robbie.
Yeah.
Councillor Bryan. So I'll move Councillor Bryan, and if there's an apology for Councillor Williams if we're going beyond 9:40. Moved by Deputy Mayor Atkinson, seconded by Councillor Redmond. All in favour, please say, raise your hands. Against. Right, that's carried. We're now into reports 3.1, which is the COVID-19 Vax Pass. So, Liz, I think you're leading us on this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, councillors. Thank you for joining us on this extraordinary meeting this morning. I'm here to present the report with regards to the possible vaccine pass removal for the aquatic facilities, libraries and community facilities. So you'll remember I came to you earlier this year to update you with regards to the vaccine pass entry for the aquatic facilities and the library, and that has been very successfully received over the last few months by both staff and many of our community residents. Last week, you will note that there was an update from the government announcement that they will be removing my vaccine passes from 11:59 on Monday, the 4th of April. So vaccine passes were only meant to be temporary, and a review is now appropriate due to the high coverage of vaccination within the community, and there is also an increased immunity from natural infection. There have been mixed emotions across the community towards the use of my vaccine passes, with a number of residents choosing to voice their approval or otherwise to both elected members and staff over the past few months. I come to you today with our recommendation to remove passes in line with the government advice from 11:59 on Monday, the 4th of April, including the removal of the QR code scanning for aquatic facilities, libraries, and our community facilities. These facilities will continue to review their programs over the coming months to ensure that appropriate risk mitigation is in place while Omicron is still high in our community. For staff, we will also continue to be reviewing our risk assessments, which will commence with a full risk assessment review starting from next week to ensure that all other mitigations are appropriately in place for roles, particularly high-risk roles, including physical distancing, mask wearing, remote working where possible, and all other good hygiene practices. At that point, I'll probably take the report as read and open up for any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz. Questions. So if you could use the reactions.
Yeah, we'll do.
I see Councillor Doody and then Councillor Barnett. Councillor Doody.
Thank you. Just a question with the stadium, main power stadium. Does that go completely separate or from?
No,
from
Main
us?
Power Stadium will also remove their vaccine pass requirements from 11:59.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Barnett.
Yes, thank you for your report, Liz. Just with regards to staff, if there are people who are high risk or feel that they are still concerned with the high levels of Omicron in our community, and they work in a high risk environment, will all possible measures be taken to maintain their working status or redistribute them to another working area?
Thank you for that, Kirsten. It's a really great question. So on Tuesday, we will be looking at, we've updated our risk assessment profile. There are additional 4 questions now that WorkSafe are looking for us to include, which reflects the new situation that Omicron is presenting to us. So we will be reviewing our risk assessments for all roles, especially those ones that are high risk, and making sure that we're doing everything that we can to keep our staff safe. So yes, including redeployment if that is required.
Thank you.
Is there any further questions? Well, from the chair, I'm going to move the recommendations of 3.1 as listed. Is there a seconder? You're seconding it, Paul? Is that right? Okay. Just in speaking to it, we always maintained that we would review this situation, including the advice from the Ministry of Health, and watch the announcements closely so that we were in a position to respond quickly as the situation improves, and based on the information provided by the government, and that's exactly the position we're in today. I support us lowering the restrictions, but I really would like to still urge our community to not become complacent with COVID-19. There are a number of cases still being presented. We're not sure if we have reached the peak. Some instances I was told yesterday that might be the case, but we're still not clear on that. So it's really important that our community do still practice good hygiene and the wear masks where needed, and follow the guidance on self-isolation. And importantly, it's a really important time that we show respect and tolerance to each other, because it's a particularly trying circumstance for everyone. Putting in place the restrictions was never an easy decision for our council to make, and we know we had mixed reactions about doing so when we met pre-Christmas, but it's one that was based on the best health information and advice at the time. And on that, I'd really like to acknowledge the efforts that our staff have put in particular Liz. I think you've done an absolutely superb job through this time advising the organisation both internally and externally, and made sure that the likes of myself and Jim have excellent advice, and that we are ultimately protecting our staff and community, because that's what this has been about. Had a large range of comments from people, both externally or particularly externally, and I appreciate that those who've made that decision not to vaccinate, it's been a particularly difficult time for them. So I'm sure these announcements will be welcomed in that regard. But it's at the right time to make this call. It's in line with the government guidelines and advice, so I support the recommendations. Seconder, which is Paul. Did you wish to speak?
Yeah, no, thank you. It's all been said by Dan, so well said. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Councillor Doody.
Thank you. I'd just like to pass on Liz. I went up into JP duty at Oxford, and I was very impressed with the way that the staff had handled the situation up there, making sure that we meet our distance, and it's very, because it's just in a small room, and I really was most appreciative of their work they have done to make it safe for anybody that's coming in. So I just want to pass that message on to the staff. Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy. Any further speakers? With that, I don't think I've got anything I need to respond to there. So it's all been well said. So let's I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Against? Declare that carried. Thanks, Liz. And if you could pass our thanks to your team as well. And I know I've been supporting you as well. And Jim is our CE, who's also been providing excellent advice. So thank you to you all.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, councillors.
So we now comes to decisions with the public excluded. So there's a recommendation under 4, and for the reasons there, is someone prepared to move? Moved by Councillor Barnett, seconded by Councillor Atkinson. I'll put that. All those in favour, raise your hand.